Channel 276. President Bola Tinubu has assured Nigerians that 2026 will mark the beginning of robust economic growth as his administration's reforms mature, with plans to bring at least 10 million people into productive economic activity nationwide. In his New Year message, the president said that the growth will be driven by the Renewed Hope World Development Program, which aims to empower no fewer than 1,000 persons in each of Nigeria's 8,809 wards, alongside continued implementation of tax reforms to strengthen fiscal stability. However, while reiterating that the reforms are difficult but necessary, the president did not provide specific details on how the ambitious targets would be achieved. With the dawn of the new year, millions of people around the world are setting goals, reflecting on the past and striving for personal growth. But as we step into the future, how are our resolutions changing? Are we evolving with technology, social trends, and our collective mindsets? Our correspondent Dia Yakubu brings us more.
Across the globe, New Year's resolutions have traditionally centered on fitness, career goals, and personal happiness. But as we enter 2026, a new set of priorities is emerging.
My expectations should be, I'm expected to accomplish my goals. One of my goals is to train children, to help them become what I didn't become.
As technology continues to shape our daily lives, another resolution taking center stage is digital well-being. In 2026, many are looking to reclaim their time, focusing on unplugging from devices and setting boundaries with social media.
My New Year resolutions, as you can see, is to be happy with my family and to be a good citizen to Nigeria.
While some are trying to avoid technology, others are using it to help them achieve their goals. From AI-powered fitness app to visual health coaches, 2026 is bringing us a new tools to achieve personal growth. But is tech making it easier or harder to stick to our resolutions?
I want my prayer life to be very strong because I was not really prayerful in 2025. So in 2026, I want to be very prayerful.
As we look ahead to 2026, it is clear that New Year's resolutions are no longer just about personal goals. They reflect a growing awareness of global realities, from sustainability and digital balance to mindfulness and gratitude. People are setting intentions that align personal growth with a healthier, more conscious world. Sadia Yakubu reporting for Global Television News.
Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma has assured residents of sustained peace and economic growth in 2026 as he outlines key priorities in his New Year message. To the people of the state, our correspondent Amarachi Ibe brings us more. Alright, so we'll bring that report later. Benue State Governor Hyacinth Adia has signed a 2026 appropriation bill into law, unveiling a spending plan aimed at repositioning the state rural economy and driving inclusive growth. The budget prioritizes agriculture, infrastructure, and livelihood support. Felicity Ndere has the rest of the story.
Governor Hyacinth Adia has signed into law the 2026 budget of over 695 billion naira, with an increase of about 89.5 billion naira from the initial amount of 605.5 billion naira presented. The appropriation bill, initially presented at 605.5 billion naira, was reviewed by the Benue State House of Assembly and increased to 696 billion naira after legislative scrutiny.
This budget will be implemented with discipline, compassion, and results.
Governor Hyacinth Adia has signed into law the 2026 budget of over 695 billion naira, with an increase of about 89.5 billion naira from the initial amount of 605.5 billion naira presented. The appropriation bill, initially presented at 605.5 billion naira, was reviewed by the Benue State House of Assembly and increased to 696 billion naira after legislative scrutiny.
This budget will be implemented with discipline, compassion, and results in mind.
Presenting the bill for assent, the Speaker of the House,
The Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) has presented its 2025 budget estimates to the House of Representatives Committee on NDDC, unveiling the 1.75 trillion naira budget proposal focused on consolidation, accountability, and sustainable development across the Niger Delta region. National Assembly correspondent Anyete Patrick reports.
At the House Committee hearing in Abuja, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the NDDC, Dr. Samuel Ogboku, appeared before lawmakers to give an account of the Commission's 2024 performance and outline priorities for the coming year. Dr. Ogboku described the NDDC as a critical vehicle for delivering federal government development initiatives to the Niger Delta, stressing that the 2024 budget presents a clear shift from what he called transactional spending to a transformational development model. According to the NDDC Managing Director, the 2025 budget is designed to be people-centered, participatory, and aligned with the renewed hope agenda of the federal government.
I think we will definitely deepen stakeholders' engagement in different aspects, both in the area of youth, women, and also even entrepreneurs in the region. We have carried out such engagements in the past, but for the honorable member to say we should deepen it, it is also well taken. We are going to carry out other engagements.
On budget performance, the Commission disclosed that its 2024 budget of renewed hope projected a revenue of 1.91 trillion naira, but recorded an actual inflow of 1.945 trillion naira as of October 31st, following the extension of the budget cycle to December 2025. For 2025, the proposed 1.75 trillion naira budget-themed budget of consolidation represents a 9% reduction from 2024, reflecting a no-borrowing policy and tighter fiscal discipline.
As of October 31st, 2025, the Commission's actual revenue stood at 1.985 trillion, exceeding the target of 1.911 trillion for April 2024, September to September 2025 by 104%.
The House Committee Chairman, Erikate Ibori Senu, and members assured the Commission of legislative support while emphasizing the need for transparency, accountability, and value for money to ensure that budgetary allocations translate into tangible benefits for the Niger Delta communities.
For our communities, this budget represents hope, opportunity, and the promise of a better quality life.
The House Committee is expected to submit the proposal to further scrutiny before approval as stakeholders look to the 2025 budget to address long-standing development gaps in the Niger Delta. From the National Assembly, Anyete Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
Back to Imo State. Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma has signed into law the 2026 appropriation bill estimated at about 1.4 trillion naira, describing it as a product of strong collaboration between the executive and the legislature. The signing ceremony was held at the new government annex, Olu. Amarachi Ibe brings the report.
At the House Committee here,
Governor Uzodinma said to the bill days after its passage by the Imo State House of Assembly, completing the constitutional process of checks and balance. Governor Uzodinma says the transition of the budget from estimates to law reflects democratic strength and commended the lawmakers for their diligence. He described the budget of economic breakthrough as ambitious, noting government's commitment to revenue generation, completion of ongoing projects, and sustained infrastructure development across the state.
So as a government, we work to generate the revenue and not spend the revenue. And you can see how ambitious this year's budget is. A signal that we must fasten our seatbelts to look for the money so we can spend the money for the people. So all the projects that are ongoing, critical projects in Imo State, we have no plan to leave anyone uncompleted before the end of our tenure.
Governor adds that the budget will boost small and medium-scale enterprises, attract investments, and strengthen revenue-generating agency. He thanked the president for providing the funds for states.
So these are the kind of things I want us to take note. And this budget is very comprehensive and detailed. This budget has taken care of, if well implemented, both the small and medium enterprises, local and foreign investors, and all the revenue generating agencies will have an environment to operate. This is the whole idea why it is called Budget of Economic Breakthrough. By the end of
the signing of the 2026 budget set the stage for a new fiscal year, with the state government expressing confidence that it will deliver measurable benefits to Imo residents. From the Government House Annex Olo, I'm Marachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Prime. When News Prime returns, Federal Inland Revenue Service rebrands as the Nigerian Revenue Service, unveils new logo. Details coming shortly. Plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please do stay with us. In business, President Bola Tinubu has pledged that his administration will further reduce inflation in 2026, saying the federal government is determined to ensure that the benefits of the ongoing economic reforms reach every Nigerian household. Tinubu made the pledge in his New Year message to Nigerians. Nigeria's headline inflation rate had moderated to 14.45% in November 2025, marking a significant slowdown from the 16.05% recorded in October 2025. The Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, has officially changed its name to the Nigeria Revenue Service, NRS, and unveiled a new corporate logo as part of the country's transition to a revamped tax framework set to take effect on January 1st, 2026. The unveiling took place in Abuja, led by NRS Executive Chairman Zach Adedoji, following the enactment of the Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Act 2025, which was signed into law by President Bola Tinubu in June. The new law formally replaces FIRS with NRS as Nigeria's Central Revenue Authority, expanding its role under the nation's comprehensive tax reform program. Meanwhile, a Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja has cleared the federal government to proceed with the implementation of the new tax regime, scheduled to commence on January 1st. Justice Bello Kawu dismissed a suit seeking to halt the rollout, ruling that the applicant failed to show how the tax would cause irreplaceable harm or violate constitutional provisions. The court held the fiscal policy falls within the lawful powers of the government, adding that any perceived errors in the law must be addressed through legislative amendment or a valid court order. Let's go to the foreign scene now. Mali and Burkina Faso have announced travel restrictions on American citizens after the United States added both countries to a no-entry list. The two nations said they are imposing equivalent measures with immediate effect after United States President Donald Trump had long campaigned to restrict immigration, expanded a travel ban earlier this month by barring people from 7 more countries. The list included Syrian citizens as well as Palestinian Authority passport holders and nationals of Niger, Sierra Leone, and South Sudan. Somaliland has denied claims that it agreed to host Israeli military bases or resettle displaced Palestinians from Gaza in exchange for diplomatic recognition by Israel. In a statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs described allegations as false and baseless, insisting that its engagement with Israel has been strictly diplomatic and conducted in line with international law. The denial followed remarks by Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, who alleged in an interview that Somaliland had accepted conditions from Israel, including resettling Palestinians, allowing an Israeli military base along the Gulf of Aden, and joining the Abraham Accords. Duran Mamdani has been sworn into office as New York's 111th mayor, the first to take the office as a Democrat bearing credentials of a democratic socialist. The 34-year-old was sworn in by Letitia James, the state attorney general, in a disused subway station beneath the city hall that acts as turnaround for local 5 train, to be followed by the first of its kind public block party along Broadway's Cayon of Heroes. Uyi Abumofwegbe brings more details.
Okay, it is now official. Thank you. Mr. Mayor, congratulations. Thank you so much.
Zoran Mamdani said it is an honor and the privilege of a lifetime as he announced and welcomed a new transportation commissioner for the city, Mike Flynn. Mamdani, the young upstart of the U.S. left, will take over as New York mayor for a term sure to see him cross swords with President Donald Trump. After the clock struck midnight, bringing in 2026, Mamdani took his oath of office at an abandoned subway stop to begin managing the United States' largest city.
Thank you so much for everyone for being here. Happy New Year to New Yorkers, both inside this tunnel and above. And I cannot wait to see everyone tomorrow as we begin our term. This is truly the honor and the privilege of a lifetime. And after just having taken my oath to become the mayor of the city of New York, I do so also here in the old City Hall subway station, a testament to the importance of public transit, to the vitality, the health, and the legacy of our city.
It, however, remains to be seen if Mamdani, virtually unknown a year ago, can deliver on his ambitious agenda, which envisions rent freezes, universal childcare, and free public houses. It, however, remains to be seen if Mamdani, virtually unknown a year ago, can deliver on his ambitious agenda, which envisions rent freezes, universal childcare, and free public buses. One flashpoint might be immigration raids as Trump wages an expanding crackdown on migrants across the United States, an issue over which the president and the new mayor do not share the same perspective. Uyi Agbomofwegbe, reporting for Global TV News.
In sports, Gabon Sports Minister has announced the banning of veteran player Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Bruno Etromanga, the suspension of the whole national team, and the sacking of the coaching staff following the partners' disastrous showing at the African Cup of Nations. An injury time winner by Bazoumana Toure condemned Gabon to a 3-2 defeat against defending champions Ivory Coast at AFCON. A third consecutive defeat in as many outings ensured that they finished rock bottom of Group F, below heavyweights Ivory Coast and Cameroon, but also Mozambique. Chelsea FC have confirmed the departure of manager Enzo Maresca following a run of 1 win in 7 Premier League matches that left the club feet on the table. The decision followed growing fan unrest and a breakdown in relations between the 45-year-old and the club's hierarchy, with sources citing internal disagreements and public dissent over ownership and squad planning. Maresca joined in July 2024 and led Chelsea to the Champions League while winning the Conference League and Club World Cup. He leaves ahead of Sunday's clash with Manchester City. And that's it on News Prime. A recap of our top stories. President Bola Tinubu has assured Nigerians that 2026 will mark the beginning of a robust economic growth as his administration reforms matures, with plans to bring at least 10 million people into productive economic activity nationwide. In business, President Bola Tinubu has pledged that his administration would further reduce inflation in 2026, saying the federal government is determined to ensure that the benefits of the ongoing economic reforms reach every Nigerian household. On the foreign scene, Zora Mamdani has been sworn into office as New York's 111th mayor, the first to take office as a Democrat bearing credentials of a democratic socialist. And in sports, Gabon sports minister has announced the banning of veteran player Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Bruno Echedi Manga, the suspension of the whole national team, and the sacking of the coaching staff following the partners' disastrous showing at the African Cup of Nations. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTime channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now shown on your screen using @GlobalTVNG. I am Ubon Usoro. Bye for now.